So today's workout's two conditioning blocks, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off format. We're going to go for 4 rounds in each block, 4 minute rest between blocks. So just for the purpose of doing things properly, I guess, here's a kind of a brief warm up that we can do before we get into it. So I'm just doing some walkouts here with a kind of I guess it's a squat, so it's just kind of like loosening out the hips a little bit. As I'm progressing through the rounds here, I'm kind of opening up the hips a bit more and probably working on a bit more of an upright posture in the squat, but I'm just using it to kind of feel out where I'm at the minute in terms of tightness and what's going on in my body. So I'm just going to do a couple of these. I'm going to do, well, a couple, an Irish couple, probably 5 reps. And then from there, we're just going to have a look at some hip thrusters. Again, just picking 8 each leg. And after the hip thrusters, then just some hamstring flossing. Again, 8 each leg. Just a little kind of primer or prep work before we go into the first block. So with the hamstring floss come up in a second, we're easing into the movement. We're not trying to go for a hamstring PR or something, or trying to blast our hamstrings out. So you'll see here, just work within your range and just maybe increase range as you're warming up, or just stay where you're at, but don't kind of be too aggressive on these. So that's a brief little warm up. We're going to get into the fun stuff now. So block number 1 coming up, we're going to do goblet thrusters first. So these guys, we're going for 30 seconds. Again, I've put a video up of it before. I'm trying to work on my timing here as well. I'm not pressing before my hips are extended. And I'm trying to delay the squat till the weight gets back to my chest. So with anything kind of aerobic here, although it's aerobic power, we're looking to kind of obviously be kind of increasing our output over time. So if we're doing this in multiple times over the course of a month or something, or 2 months even, whatever, we might be trying to fit in an extra few repetitions per 30 seconds. But right now I'm trying to keep the movement kind of cyclical, that it's not like I'm trying to burst out a ton of repetitions in the first round and then die out after that. So it's kind of cyclical, it's repeatable, sustainable. Okay, so 30 seconds, a little breather. All feels grand so far, early days. Next round is going to be the topside half moons. And again, this is very hip dominant exercise. I used to really stress about knee valgus, knees caving on this one, but the more you see real life and real world and sports and field sports in action, nothing's perfect. It's a kind of chaos. So the main thing here that I'm trying to do, kind of getting sidetracked, is I'm really trying to extend through the hips. The arms guide the weight over my shoulders. Not really kind of doing like a big heavy front raise. It's more hips and arms to finish. So it's sequencing kind of similar to the thruster, in that I want my hips to extend fully first, generate the force, or transmit the power through my torso into the arms to finish then. Get the old Garmin Seamus plug ready for the plank, the front leaning rest coming up next. Especially in the early rounds, I think it's important to try and control the breathing, work on the breathing a little bit while we're still, fairly, I'm not going to say whether we're not being taxed, but it's a little bit of a slow burn, this stuff. Like, it'll start to creep up on you in the middle rounds. So just staying calm here, breathing, and just getting prepped now for the plank, the front leaning rest. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to stay on my tippy toes, even bringing my shoulders slightly in front of my hands, and I'm trying to really squeeze through the glutes. So I want to be in a neutral or posterior tilt to my pelvis. I don't want a big arch in my lower back here. So there's a 30-second squeeze, and then relax for 30 seconds again. And that's the first round done, 3 rounds to go. And back to the thrusters. So I'm really trying to be aware of my timing here, my sequencing as well. I probably should be at an intensity where I can still manage that kind of correct movement or patterning. I mean, I should be always striving for, excellent technique. I'm not going to say perfect because that's pretty much unattainable, but excellent technique. But, it's not a sprint right now. It's probably like a decent pace jog that I'm thinking. So I should be still able to work on that timing a little bit of sequencing. So it's all right. It's not bad, especially on the way up it's good, but on the way down, I could probably delay the squat slightly. That's our 30 seconds. I think I was getting about 15 reps from what I can remember. I wasn't counting on the video there. But again, in terms of the aerobic kind of context, we should be keeping roughly the same amount of repetitions performed for each 30 seconds that we do. So if I'm getting 15 repetitions on the first round of thrusters, I don't want to be like getting 8 or 7 on the last round. Obviously, I don't want to do 7 on the start and just crawl through this. It's aerobic power. Like a reminder, over time, we should be able to fit in more repetitions consistently in those 30-second windows. So topside half moons again. Not an awful lot to add here. Just strong through the lumbar spine. We're not rounding our back, but probably the main thing here is don't be smashing your quads with the kettlebell. Surprisingly, nothing really good comes out. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of aiming for my pocket almost with the kettlebell. So my forearm will land on the on my thigh, but that's probably a lot better than the kettlebell landing on your thigh. But if you are gonna do that, then maybe send in a few pictures of the bruises. See who has the gnarliest looking home workout injury. Don't actually do that. I'm just talking shit. Don't do that. Okay, so getting ready for the plank again. And by plank I mean front leaning rest position, FLR. Again, I'm really conscious here of trying to, get that neutral or that posterior pelvic tilt. Just really squeezing the glutes and tucking the hips under. So I don't want to be in a position where my hips start sagging and kind of falling towards the floor. Again, I don't want to shoot my backside up in the air either, but just braced as if someone's going to bump into me or push me. I'm trying to keep myself as rigid or steady as possible. 30 seconds here, 30-second rest. That's halfway through, and we're back in then to the thrusters. Although, having said that, I'm going to do a bodyweight round next. I know some folks are kind of, they don't have access to equipment, so we're just keeping it simple. I'm going to do the high knees for 30 seconds. And again, what I'm doing with the high knees is I'm kind of taking it in 3 10-second blocks. So I'm counting how many high knees I get in the first 10 seconds. I'm not stopping, I'm going straight through. I'm trying to at least match that in the next 10 seconds. And then the same for the last 10 seconds. So this actually got hurried up a lot more than the thrusters, which surprised me. Maybe it shouldn't have. But 30 seconds of high knees and then 30-second break. Light feet there. Missed my calling as a ballet dancer, clearly. So after the 30 seconds rest here, I'm kind of thinking, thank God I wasn't doing high knees for the whole workout. Might be motivation to go out and buy some equipment if you don't have any equipment at the moment, because that was awful. Next up is the mountain climbers. Surprisingly, I felt my hamstrings a lot in these. Maybe you're meant to, but I don't really do enough mountain climbers consistently in my life to know that. But it's a good little lesson for me. So I want to keep my hips relatively low here, weight on the hands, and again, those light feet in action. Same thing with the knee raises, the high knees. I was trying to break this up in my head into 10-second blocks. I'm trying to keep the repetitions up for those 10 seconds, keeping it consistent. And the plank variation here is just an RKC plank, just to change it up a little bit. If you want to do the front leaning rest, you can. We can do the RKC plank as well. Same principles, trying to tuck the hips under, squeeze the glutes on my tippy toes. And for this one, I'm kind of keeping my nose over my thumbs. If we do this correctly, you can see that even my arms kind of bracing there. I'm trying to drag my elbows towards my feet. If you're doing this properly, 30 seconds should be challenging. We're not just like resting in the position, we're working in the position. Alright, so we've got one round left, and I'm going to go back to the thrusters, the half moons, and the front leaning rest for this round. The last round is just going to give you an idea that if you don't have access to kettlebells or dumbbells, we can easily do something bodyweight. Again, just working on my timing here, keeping aware and conscious of that, and then I have my repetitions in mind. I think we're around 15 now. I'm trying to maintain that for this last round as well. So I'm starting to think about block B and those jumping lunges, which I shouldn't be doing, but that's what's going on in the head right now. Yeah, and these felt pretty strong this week. Last week I was getting tired through my core, but I think more exposure to the movement as well too. But just trying to stay real braced and real tight through the midline and get the hips doing the work helps a lot. It's getting spicy when I start resting on my knees. Although, listening to my heart rate, you can tell it's getting a bit of work now. I know I have a little recovery after this block, or after this round at least, so that's going to bring my heart rate back down a little bit and allow me to kind of maintain a certain degree of power for the last block as well. So the last set of the front leaning rest coming up, then we're going to take a 4-minute breather. So again, it's the last round. It's all the more reason to focus on our posture on this one. Don't get lazy here, alright? So 30 seconds, and it's a 4-minute rest. So after the 4-minute break, we got the second block, and we're going to start with the switch lunge or jumping lunges. Again, with these guys, steady enough kind of pace. What I'm trying to here is to step or land into a long stride. But I don't want that front knee coming forward too much. Again, just general pop. I know field athletes, it's different requirements, and that front knee can come forward. We can even be on our toes. But for general pop, I want to land on the front heel. I'm trying to get a vertical shin, but obviously it's not happening consistently here. What I'm doing is I'm just kind of taking a steady cadence, counting the repetitions, and same as the last few rounds. I want to keep that kind of consistent for the whole of the block. So a 30-second break, and we're going to come into some kettlebell swings next. Snap back gorilla stance to get started. Then we are into, again, not looking to rush through these. So I'm getting about 20 repetitions for the 30 seconds here. Hip hinge, not a knee bend, plenty of knee bending in the lunges. So even the heels dug in. Probably get a bit of breathing going in this one too. Then I'm not holding my breath, a sharp breath on the way up. When that's done, then again 30-second rest. And then the core piece for this round is just going to be a reverse plank. And again with this one, I'm really trying to squeeze, I guess, through the glutes again. I want to try and get the hamstrings working on this one as well. I'm trying to pull my shoulder blades back and towards each other. So there's our 3 movements done. This is block B. We're going to go for 4 rounds of this again, similar or exact same format, I guess, to block A. Already dreading the choice of switch lunges for an exercise in this one. Well, the quads aren't quite destroyed yet, but they're getting there. So back in, same deal, trying to keep it fairly consistent here. What I'm trying to do is probably step back further with the rear leg. And that'll just help kind of almost by default, kind of keep my front shin in a more or less. It's not quite vertical, it's not vertical at all, but I want to keep that knee for the most part just behind the toes. And interesting, it's happening more on my left leg, but again, the joys of being human, asymmetries. So just going to provide another alternative again if you don't have access to kettlebells or anything that we can swing around. Just going to go to mountain climbers. We could do elbow touching, coming across, touching the knee coming across and touching the opposite elbow. But again, I'm just kind of keeping things without the twist, just lateral here at the moment. So again, weight through the hands, heavy hands. Trying to keep the feet light here. 30 seconds, followed by our 30-second rest. So yeah, definitely did a lung burn on that one. You know, again, kind of saving energy when I'm not coming up with my feet. Getting the watch set up so I can see things now with the reverse plank. So really focusing here on trying to pull my shoulder blades back and down. Again, you can see I'm trying to create a posterior tilt through the hips, so I don't want to overarch my back. Again, back was getting a bit tired here, so I was just really trying to focus on glutes tight, and then again just squeezing the shoulder blades back and down, expanding the chest. Back into these guys now, probably starting to slow down a little bit, but there's not a significant drop off in the number of reps that I'm doing. Again, consistency. So trying to really land on the front heel as well. Again, thinking about stepping that foot back behind me, so a long kind of stride. I think that the kind of more conservative or the shorter the stride I take, the more opportunity there's going to be for me to end up on my toes, and I don't want to do that. So long strides and that. Again, it'll punch on the quads, try and keep them in the game a bit longer. So I'm going to go back onto the kettlebell swing for this round and snap back and straight in. Glutes again at the top, guys. I don't want to end up in a position with the kettlebell swing where my shoulders are falling back behind my hips. So nice, tall, strong posture at the top of each swing. Bottom position, it's like I'm passing that kettlebell back between my legs. Minimal knee bend, soft knees in the bottom. I'm not doing a big knee bending squat style exercise here. So it's hip hinging, bending from the hips. Thinking about life, just chilling out. No, back to the reverse plank again. Same thing, shoulder blades back and tight. You can see I'm probably sagging a little bit here now, kind of getting tired. Trying to push through the glutes, through the hamstrings. Yeah, definitely get tired here. One more round to go. So just as well, quads are getting pretty tired at this stage. So again, the fact that it's the last round is probably keeping me in the game here. So trying to stay as kind of relaxed or light in my feet as I can. But obviously, again, I don't want to get kind of lazy or sloppy with my landing. So it's hard to see here, but I don't want my knees caving in when I land. So strong knees pointing in front of me. I'm not letting those guys cave in. So decent knee tracking, 30 seconds. And that's then the lunges, the split squats, the split lunges done. Yeah, feeling it a little bit now. Last set of swings coming up again. I'm getting a bit tired through my core here, but I really want to focus on strong technique. Just because the last set, we're not trying to sprint over the finish line. We're not trying to rush things here. Keep the, again, cadence, keep the rhythm consistent. The amount of repetitions we're hitting, we're kind of keeping it all consistent right now. So the last plank, 30 seconds coming up, and then we are finished. That's the fourth round of the second block. So 24 minutes for both blocks, and a little rest in the middle as well, 28 minutes, a couple of minutes then to get a quick warm up. So it's 30 minutes in total. Again, I probably recommend, as long as our legs aren't too smoked, maybe a couple of rec fem, a couch stretching at the end, just for the front of the thigh.